Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to a new weekly reading vlog. This is week 2 of my 31 books in 31 days challenge. I'll let you in a little secret. It's actually the Monday of the 3rd week. I vlogged all week, mostly b-roll, but a couple of speaking clips that have gone. I keep them in 2 separate folders, so I don't really know where the other folder's gone. So I'm going to have to talk to you all today through this vlog. But there's loads of b-roll of me on holiday because I was actually down in Devon last week, which was so lovely, and I have quite a few clips from that, so this will be a very nice vlog. It's just such a shame that I've lost all the clips that I had, and so I will have to speak to you here. I hope that doesn't bother you. To be honest, I hope the b-roll just makes up for it, otherwise I would have scrapped this. But it was such a nice vlog with all the holiday footage. I've decided to speak through it with you. About the first book that I read during this week, and that was Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. So this book is like The Secret Garden, you know, the classic by Francesca Burnett or whatever. It's like that, exactly like that actually, but more interesting. Following this girl's perspective as she sees ghosts. That's like her thing. She can see ghosts, she can talk to ghosts. And so she ends up moving to this castle because all of her family are dying. Death kind of follows her, and she can meet death. She can't die, but she can try and die through eating these things called Belladonna, which is like a poisonous plant. And then she meets and talks to death. And that is just, he is such an interesting character. The fact that death is in this book, and he's my favourite character in the book as well, was really, really fascinating, really unique, really, really interesting. And she moves to this big family house, and it was really nice to read this book while staying in the house I was staying in. If you're interested in where I was staying, it was called the Garfield House, and it's down in South Brent in Devon, in case anyone wanted to like look it up if you were interested in going there yourselves. It was so lovely, and it was so like the book I was reading matched the place so well, but it was so spooky because the book was kind of spooky. It's about somebody's died and she's trying to solve how she's died as a ghost by talking to the ghost and working out who would have a motive to kill. So it was really, really spooky to read that book while in the house, and that definitely added to my enjoyment and atmosphere. But overall, I didn't love the book. I think I gave it 3 stars. it wasn't that interesting to me, but I did also love certain parts, but it was so boring at other times. Yeah, it was a mix of emotions on that book. But I'm glad I read it, and I'm interested in reading the sequel when that comes out next year. Oh, I'm saying next year as if I know when it's coming out. I don't. Okay, so that was my holiday. I came back home on Friday, and Saturday I was like, I only read one book this week, I've got to catch up. So I decided to finish the book I'd started on holiday, which was Hotel Magnifique. This is by Emily J. Taylor. I was so excited about this book. I got an ARC, but I never read it before it came out. It's been out a while now. I don't know what it is about magic, circuses, things like that. This is very much Caraval. It's pretty much the exact same book. But like, even less fun, more boring. I think I gave it 1 star, and I was being harsh. I will admit I was being harsh, but I was so desperate to DNF this. It was boring as hell, and I just hated everything. I hated the main character. She was so whingy, so whiny, so annoying. So I just found it to be a real chore to read. I didn't love the writing style. I didn't love the love interest. I don't really see the point of it, really, all in all. And by the end, I did not care about the explanation. I was literally skim reading to get it done, because I no longer cared. So unfortunately, that was a really, really bad read this week. I think if you're a fan of Caraval or the Night Circus or anything like that, it would kind of be for you, but I have not liked any of those books. So I think I'm going to learn my lesson and give up on them now. Then I decided to read, a reread actually. I read My Dad's Best Friend by Katee Robert. I have read this before, but for Christmas, Robbie bought me a physical copy of the book, and I haven't read it physically yet, so I decided to do that. And it was really, really fun. It's just a short, smutty novella, really. I say novella, it's fairly long. It's 150 pages. Is that a novella? Yeah, probably. But these are such good books. I really enjoy them. I think they're very fun. The first time I read this, I gave it 3 stars because I was comparing it to the first 2 books, which I think are 5 stars for me. This is the 3rd book, and I don't love it as much as the others, but I did decide to lift it to a 4 star because I feel like I was being quite harsh. I need to read this one. I think this is the first one. I need to read this again physically now that I own it, and I'm really excited to do so. So yeah, 4 stars for this one. Really, really fun, really exciting to get to go back to that and all those characters. Then I read Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, finally, and I read this in one sitting. It was so good. Colleen Hoover, I know she's like a love or hate, and there are some weird moments in here that are currently trending on Twitter that are just so weird. Why would you put those sentences in? I'm not entirely sure. But also her books are just so easy to read, and I really connect with them. I find them so emotional. I really, really enjoyed this book. And I actually went out today and bought another one of her books that apparently crosses over with this one. So I really, really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. The reason it didn't get a 5 from me was purely because of my expectations given to me by other people. A lot of people call this a toxic romance and say that it's very emotional, very upsetting. This is not a toxic romance. This is just a man who has his trauma and is working through it, and it's not toxic at all. The old relationship wasn't toxic at all. Like, it's got 2 different timelines and 2 different relationships. Neither of them were toxic. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're thinking, yeah, it was. But I don't see either of those relationships as toxic at all. I think all the characters were really upfront, really great. Absolutely love reading about their relationships, both timelines. And I think this is a really, really great book. But I was led with expectations that it was going to be more like It Ends With Us, which I cried a lot at. So really, it's probably a 5-star read, but it ended up being a 4 for me. But I don't mind. I really, really enjoyed this book, and I'm so glad I read it. Then we moved on to Sunday, and I read 2 books. This is yesterday. I read Soul of the Sword by Julie Kagawa. This is the sequel to The Shadow of the Fox. Unfortunately, I didn't love this one. I gave Shadow of the Fox 4.5 stars. This one only got a 3 for me. It feels shallow. It feels like this book just didn't need to happen, really. It felt very forced for the sake of being forced. I don't feel like we made a lot of progress in the book. I don't feel like the end result was very satisfying. I don't think I liked the characters in this book. Even though I really connected with them in the first one, I didn't care about them. And that was proven when we had a couple of deaths. I did not even care. Like, I felt nothing. Whereas in the first book, I would have sobbed. So I think I just disconnected from this book completely, which I didn't expect to have happened because I read them so close together. So that's unfortunate, but I didn't dislike it. It was a 3. I'm just this bit disappointed that it wasn't as good as I hoped. But that is okay. We move on. And then my last book that I have to update you on is I read the Jennette McCurdy autobiography, and I was lucky enough to get access to the audiobook through Libro FM. I'm part of their ARC reader thing, so I get to pick audiobooks every month to listen to, which is insane. I can't believe I got accepted to that. So this was one of the options, and I have listened to it, and it was narrated by Jennette McCurdy herself, and I just felt like it added to the experience, and I just absolutely loved listening to a story. I gave it 5 stars. I think she had such a sorrowful tale to tell that none of us would have ever expected from this girl who made us laugh our entire childhood. It definitely ruined the childhood that I had watching iCarly, but in a way that's good. Like, I shouldn't have idolized that show when what was happening in the background was happening. I felt really, really sorry for her. And I think she was so upfront and honest. Like, it was brutally honest, this book. It showed a lot about her life that I didn't expect her to share. And so I was really, really... I feel a bit honoured, really, to have gotten an insight into her life like that. I think she was very upfront, especially considering she never wanted to go into acting. And so I didn't expect her to share what she shared. So a really, really good book. And when it does release in the UK, I recommend everybody listen to it or read it. I recommend listening because I feel like you get the emotion from her that you wouldn't get from physically reading it, but whatever you prefer. Definitely recommend that one. It was so interesting. I just felt really emotional reading that one. So I'm glad I read it, but I'm also like, that was hard to read. And definitely big trigger warnings for eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia. Huge trigger warnings, and it's very graphic and detailed as well. I think, is it emetophobia? Is that the fear of being sick? Careful if you have that as well. It's very graphic. So that was my update for this week. I'm so sorry that the speaking part has been so all over the place and right at the end. I hope that in editing I can make this look a little bit less chunky and weird. But I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to go move on to next week's vlog now and update for a haul I just purchased. So yeah, I hope to see you in next week's vlog. So hopefully we will not be missing a bunch of talking clips. And I didn't talk a lot anyway when I was on holiday, so hopefully I can get a bit more talking in this week that I'll be home and read some more books. But yeah, I shall see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!